Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles. Today I wanted to share with you guys a fun way to take a traditional origami lantern and put it together to make your very own bracelet or necklace or crown. This is a really common kind of project that people do. It's a fun way to take a simple origami and piece it together and make a pretty cool result. It's a great toy for kids, and I know I wind up making some of them for my children's little plush toys everywhere. They all have, fancy bracelets and stuff on and little crowns made out of origami. So, but there's nothing saying you can't make this really pretty and cool for yourself too. If you use some really beautiful paper or even fabric for that matter, you could use the same technique to make something really cool for yourself. So as an idea, you could make it a lot smaller and use really pretty paper and use it as the kind of bracelet that you'd maybe use for corsage, as we are looking at prom right around the corner. So just an idea of some things you can use. But it's a great simple modular that you can use to make things kind of cool looking. So I'm going to share with you guys how to do this today. First, I'm just going to remind you how to make a lantern here with this piece of paper. The steps, like I say, are really easy for this. I would say that pretty much any beginner could do this. It's just the very last two steps that are a little hard. So you might want to have somebody around who's a little more familiar with origami to help out, because there's nothing worse than getting almost all the way done and then, people crying and tearing paper in half because it doesn't work the way they want it to. So keep that in mind. So you want to start with the color side facing down, and we want to just go ahead and fold our paper in half both ways. And then we're going to do a door base by folding each of these sides into the center. Then we want to take each of these four corners and fold them into the center. This is a great way to improve your folding. Even if you're a veteran origami folder, this is always a good time to kind of make your technique a little more precise and to work on things so that you can get really good folds and creases when you work on things. So, but we're going to fold all four corners in so that we get something like this. Flip it over, and then I'm going to take the point and fold it up towards the center. It should be a really natural fold, and we're just going to smooth out the edges. Just be careful because it's really easy to accidentally snag over here. So just kind of take it in steps as you do that, and then we'll do the other side as well. So we have something like this. Flip it over, and this time what we're going to do is we're going to fold in, but we don't want to fold all the way to the center. I'm going to fold about halfway. So the key is to get the first one done here, and then we can kind of look at the center the center creases that you still have here to kind of mirror and make similar folds on the other remaining sides. So we'll just keep going around, and there should be kind of a natural way where things sort of fold over, but there is some layers here that are pretty thick. So you might need to help out a little if people's fingers are too small. They might need a little help there, but you should get something then that looks like this. Turn it over, and this is the part that's a little tricky. What we want to do is we're going to take this part and push up and pop it open so that we can smush it down to create a rectangle. If you put a little pressure here, you hold these legs back as you do this, and pinch right on this edge on both sides, you should be able to push it up to create a rectangle. And you really want to try to smooth it out and make it a nice rectangle here by pushing it out. And then we do the same thing here. If you're having a hard time with it, what you could do is you can also fold the tip up first to give yourself a little crease, and then kind of, pop open these little pockets a little bit, get them started. Make sure that one of those layers doesn't accidentally pop up with it, and then push it down. But that should give you the finished lantern. And then you just make as many as you want to combine and make your own crown. Like this side I think works pretty good for a crown, for maybe a king. If you're looking for something a little more delicate for the queen, you might make it a little smaller. But what I think is a good way to kind of connect things is to just slide one side into the other. And you do need a little bit of glue usually on this if you want to make it kid safe so that they won't tear it apart later on. But you'll see here, you kind of wind up eliminating one of these little sections by putting it on top. What I would do is just put a little bit of glue right here, and then that'll allow a place for things to connect once you've pushed it together. And it'll just give you the extra strength you need so that when you're playing with it, kids are playing with it, they don't rip it. It doesn't fall apart on them. They'll probably rip it at some point. That is bound to happen, but at least you will have it staying together for you. So what I've done is taken origami paper and cut it into fourths. So I get a little smaller paper. This is 7.5 by 7.5 centimeters. And I've made 6 of these, and I was just going to alternate and put them together to make my finished little kind of bracelet for you guys. So what I thought would be a good kind of technique is I'm going to have the darker purple be the more prominent, larger piece. So I'm always going to have that on top and let the lavender color be underneath. That will just allow me to have, you know, a cool pattern instead of just having it be a racing pattern where, you know, you've got one showing and one not. I want to have a whole solid piece like this. So that's just a design point of preference. But so what I can do is just put a little bit of glue on this guy here. And then we'll flip it over for a second. And then I'm just going to kind of open things up and let this slide in. And I'm just going to let it go all the way underneath, letting that dark purple be on top, just like it is over here too. A little pressure. And so then on this one, it's going to be the same. I'm only going to be putting glue on this piece so that it can get slid in here good. And I'm just going to keep doing this for almost all of it here. And then I'll show you what I do to put it together when we're done. Some of these slide together really easily, and some of them don't because they might be just slightly different in size. Don't be too frustrated by that. Just kind of give yourself a little time. You can kind of see how that pattern's revealing. I have these all completely revealed and then these smaller light purple ones there. So I've got this last piece here. Now I've created a nice long running area here of stuff. And what I want to do, on the last piece, we're still going to piece things together the same way. I'm not going to use glue because that's always the thing, you know, kids don't, I know my daughter, for example, she hates it when things are too loose. So I try to make it big enough so that it'll fit over her head or so that it'll fit over her wrist. And then she's mad because it doesn't fit snug like a watch. So one thing you can do is I put a little bit of tape on one of my pieces here, for example. So I know this is going to be going like this over it. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape right here, actually. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to create a space where I can create and put a little tape, a little locking system, and have it not tear my finished piece. So I've just put a little bit of tape there, clear tape, so that it'll have a place for the other piece of tape to connect to. And this way, you know, you can change this anytime so that you can make it pretty. If people played with it for too long, you know, this will give you the option of that. So I've got one part there, and then on this side I need to have this side also taped first. So I'm just going to make sure this guy's covered into this nice little shiny feature here. And actually I don't want all that extra there. So basically I've coated this end here on the dark purple and then this bit here because I want to put, when I wrap this around and I put things together like I've been doing here. Can't get it to go together again. Sorry, you guys. There we go. So you can see how these two sections here of shiny tape area are coming together. And what I'm going to do there is then take a piece of tape and I'm going to use that as my latch. And then as you play with it and it becomes less sticky, then you can play around with that. I need to make it just a little bit shorter here. But what I can do is just put one part of it on here and then the other part of it over here. And if you want, you can kind of create, just to make it kid-friendly, you can put a little section of the tape that doesn't stick all the way down so that they have something to grab onto when they're taking it on or off. And then, mine fell down, of course, on the backwards side, right? But you can see we get that slid back in there, and then that part can just stick on, and it stays put for when kids are playing, but then they can also take it off without destroying stuff, which is nice. And you just kind of get this part to sort of curl as you're going around, and you get a nice cute little bracelet. And it can be a really fun project to do with your kids and give you a chance to kind of teach them origami and how they can put it together to make something fun. So I hope you guys can find some fun ways to enjoy this origami. It's one of my favorites. It's a nice easy one that has some fun results. So I'll have some more fun things to share with you guys in the days to come. Thanks again always so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!